started recording, right?
It has.
Yeah, starting. Yeah,
So
yes.
uh, over to you, Atrey.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. A very good afternoon, everyone. Our expert for today's session is Sonia Pardesi, the founder of Sonia Pardesi Image Consulting. She is a postgraduate in mass communication with a Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology, journalism, and English literature. She started off her career as a trainee in The Hindu, and slowly she becomes synonymous to the world of media relations. Her constant interaction with people from all walks of life as a media relations professional triggered the desire to help them with the confidence she carries. She finally took the decision to help groom talented professionals and bring out the best in them through her highly efficient image consulting program modules. Welcome, ma'am, on behalf of Team Enlightenment. I hope you and your loved ones are doing well. And thank you for joining us for today's webinar.
Thanks so much, Atrey, and thanks so much, Gulshan, for this lovely opportunity. I'm very happy to be a part of today's session.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, for those who are watching us for the first time, Enlightenment is India's first personalized web app platform to solve students' problem of determining their career path by conducting various career guidance interview with leading experts. Now, without any further delay, let's start with our webinar. So, ma'am, shall I start with the questions?
Yes, please.
Okay. So the very first question is, ma'am, as even I'm a student and I really don't have idea about what image consultancy basically is. So could you like please elaborate about it?
Sure. So image management per se is all about how you feel from within. It's about your self-worth, your self-esteem, your self-competence, your self-confidence, all these aspects, and how you project it externally. Now, when we are talking about projecting it externally, we are talking about your dressing, your grooming, your body language, your etiquette, your mannerisms per se. So, image management is about your inner image and your outer image, and how you have both these aspects in sync, because each of these are interdependent on each other as much as they are on their own, but at the same time, they are interdependent on each other. So, how do you project these two aspects to the outside world is what image management is all about. So, when it comes to me as an image consultant, I advise and counsel people who are from different walks of life. They can be head honchos, they can be MDs, CEOs, CFOs, they can be IT professionals, they can be homemakers. So, they are people from the different strata of society. They belong to different verticals professionally, and they have very unique needs and requirements. So, all of us at some point in time, we need to refine our personality type. We need to work on ourselves. We need to acquire new skill sets, right? So, everyone at some stage in their life realizes that I need to work on myself. And these are some things that I help them in identifying. You know, what are the gray areas which they need to typically work on so that they function at an optimum level, and they are absolutely confident they are also able to conquer the world eventually.
Okay, so that's great. So ma'am, it helps both to a person personally as well as professionally.
Yes, yes. And also this process, since it's not primarily superficial, it's not just about your dressing and grooming. Of course, that takes a larger chunk of the time in terms of training people, but it's also about how they feel from within. What is their self-development like? So this happens over a period of time. It doesn't happen over a day or a week. So when I work with people, it happens over a period of months, because they also need to
Right.
internalize the concepts. Also they need to get used to that change, because one thing is for certain, that change is a constant. That is a cliche that all of us hear very often.
Correct.
And
Correct.
when we are working on ourselves, and that takes a long time, that is not something that happens at a drop of a hat. It doesn't happen overnight. So when you're refining your personality type, when you're refining yourself, you are changing the way you appear, the way you groom yourself, it takes a period of time.
Correct. Correct. Okay. Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, moving on to the next question would be what inspired you as a person to take off this like amazing offbeat career as your profession?
Right. So, in fact, at least I would say about 12, 15 years ago, or a little more than that, the jobs that I was doing, as much as they were good companies, and they gave me a lot of perspective about what I was doing, about also widening my horizons, but I never liked my jobs. And I never liked the whole 9 to 5 job thing. I never liked reporting to a boss, and those jobs were not to my liking. I mean, they did give me a lot of experience and exposure, but that's not something that I enjoyed. And even at that time, I used to wonder, I wish there was something where I could actually train people, on fashion and etiquette put together. And image consulting was not in India until about 12 years ago, 11 and a half, 12 years ago. So before that, there was no possibility of me taking this up or even venturing into this space, because I knew I needed a certification, even if there was something like this, something similar to this. And when
Right.
I came across image consulting, this was about 10 years ago. And I was in a very low life condition, in a very low phase of my life. And I remember I had quit my job, and I remember talking to this very good friend of mine, and he was telling me, what is it that gives you a high when it comes to your career? And I said, I want to
Right.
train
Right.
people. I want them to feel very confident about themselves. I want them to look great, feel great. And then he told me image consulting, and I was like, image consulting sounds very interesting. And then he told me about an institute which was pretty much new, but this was what were doing. And I actually looked up their website, and I saw a couple of articles and some inspiring stories of 2, 3 image consultants who had just passed out of that institute. And I was like, this is for me. And this is very karmic, because this has come to me at the right time. And all of this is everything that I want to be a part of, and I want to do this, and I want to help people. So that's when I took up. Of course, the course was a little expensive for me, because I had to figure out ways. I had to take up a loan and figure out ways to repay my loan. But my parents were also very supportive of it. But yeah, this was it for me. I was very certain that I wanted to do this.
Sonia,
That sounds
one
great.
question from the student perspective. Can I
Right.
join, can I pursue this course just after 12th, or do I have to pursue at least the graduation? I mean, what should I
So,
do?
okay, so with regards to this particular certification, which I got certified from the same institute, there is no specific age bar. They say most. I've also trained. So I was also visiting faculty for about 9 years with the same institute. I was training budding image consultants, and I've trained a whole lot of them. And I had students who were as young as 17 years of age and as old as maybe 60, right? But I would this would be my personal opinion, that when you are studying, I would say it's better to get yourself a good education. So like you need to have that base education, which is like you finish your 12, do your graduation, take up the subjects that are of your interest, because this at the end of the day is a certification, it's a program, right?
Okay.
It's not a degree. So you would rather you would rather be a graduate, and then get yourself certified with this particular certification, as against leaving, dropping out of college and taking this up. So this career option is always there for you at whatever age.
That's great.
Okay.
Okay, and you have also mentioned that certain skill set that you must be having. So can you please mention like three skill set students should have or must focus on when they are in school?
Right. So I would suggest that more than skill sets, first and foremost, you need to have the passion. Okay. So
Okay.
image consulting is all about, I'm just going to tell you everything in a nutshell. So it's different aspects of dressing. Now, when you're talking about dressing, you go deep into understanding the body shape of the person, the lifestyle of the person, the social, professional, personal roles, goals, the personal style, the wardrobe, the color, body shape, everything. You do personal shopping sessions. So you go very deep into understanding what works for them, what doesn't work for them, right? So this is with regard to their dressing aspect. Then grooming, right? How should the men sport their beard, whether they should sport a beard or not, a mustache, the hairstyle, everything. How do you put the entire look together? And then it's got to do with other aspects, which is of course your etiquette, your body language, your communication skills. So you need to have interest in all these areas. You can't see, because you're going to be taught on these different aspects, these different elements, but you can't just say that, oh, I'm just interested in one of these. I just like makeup, or I just like dressing. I'm not bothered about etiquette. And because as an image consultant, you should be interested in offering all these services to your clients.
Okay.
So I would suggest that when it comes to, when you're talking typically about skill sets, I would tell you that one, have the drive, the passion, the inclination towards it. You should be aware of trends. You should be aware of, the different brands that exist, mid-range, high, the luxury brands, or even the regular brands. It's not just an expensive proposition to be hiring an image consultant. They're not only going to be suggesting brands, but also you need to be interested in, teaching, because teaching is a very important aspect of your career as an image consultant, because you're going to be guiding people. And plus you should also be a little more observant, and you should be able to understand people a lot better. See, in my case, I had the advantage because I had studied psychology, so I was like, at least for 5 years I studied psychology,
Exactly.
right? So that kind of helped me in understanding people better, because you're going at a deeper level. You're going to be, so as much as you're using the same kind of tool sets for all your clients, but it's going to be different for different clients,
Okay.
because they are very complex personalities. Each of them have their own, personality traits, and they have their own preferences. So yes.
Sure.
Okay, ma'am, that sounds great. So, ma'am, like image consultancy, as you said, that it's a very new thing in India. So, at the present situation, like, how is the competitive world out there? What is the amount of competition that's there for this career path, particularly?
Okay, so present situation, I'm definitely not taking into consideration COVID, because COVID has really shaken up all of us.
Correct.
I used to do offline sessions where I used to do workshops, face-to-face workshops, but now everything is online, so it's very different. But having said that, let's not take COVID into consideration these 1-2 years. But I'm just saying, in terms of the competition, well, there is competition in terms of image consulting, because every single day there are more and more image consultants that are passing out of the institute. But I would just say that it doesn't mean that it's like an IT professional, right? Like, they'll have hazar other competitors. But at
Hmm.
the end of the day, it's
Correct.
also your niche. It's also you, how you are projecting yourself to the world. How are you marketing yourself? And what is the added edge with regards to you, right? What is the USP that you have, which is the most important. So one thing is that even if there are 1,000, 2,000, or whatever, 10,000 image consultants all over the country, having said that, when you become an image consultant, what is the USP? What is the niche that you are providing, and how different are you from the others? So that is what sets you apart from the others. So you typically should not really worry about the competition. Competition will always be there.
Correct. Correct.
Same with every
Definitely.
profession, I believe. Competition is everywhere.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
true.
Okay, one more doubt, Sonia, which I am having right now. I mean, in terms of the student perspective, I mean, do you people, only consider the physical image consultant, like the physical image or the social image as well? Because right now, I mean, on a lot of platforms, on Insta, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, we need to focus on creating our social image as well. So you also provide that thing as well. I mean, you also cover
Uh,
that aspect as well.
so me personally, I would, if I were to be working with clients in terms of how they project themselves to the external world, I will give them a small perspective, but I am not like a social media expert per se. I will
Okay.
tell them what their image is all about. So that is more on the lines of personal branding, right?
Mhm.
About how are they projecting themselves. That I would probably give them a couple of tips on how should they put their project their social media profile, maybe on an Instagram or a Facebook is not probably as famous right now as Instagram, but Instagram is like really doing the rounds. But how do they project themselves? So that is something on the lines of personal branding, which I take care of also.
You also, this is
Yeah.
also one of the area
Oh,
which you
Yes.
also focus on,
Yes.
because
But this
right.
I offer personally.
बिकॉज अभी अगर मैं थोड़ा सा और क्लियरिटी में बात करूं, अभी तो बहुत ज़्यादा लोगों का जो रुझान है ऑनलाइन की तरफ जा चुका है, जितने भी स्टूडेंट्स हैं। आई मीन 10 years before technology was not there. I mean when I was in school there was no technology, I mean that much, but right now and down the line 5 years also बहुत सारी चीज़ें चेंज होने वाला है, एंड वी
Yes,
विल द स्टूडेंट्स गोइंग टू कैन से अपना टाइम बहुत ज़्यादा इन्वेस्ट वहाँ पर करने वाले हैं। तो एक
correct.
टर्म सुना था, सोशल इमेज बहुत फोकस में रहने वाला है,
Yes,
राइट?
yes. So this is something that you know, when 10 years ago when I started practicing as an image consultant, I didn't give so much of importance to the social image in terms of like how I projected myself on the internet. So as much as I did have my website, I was putting up stuff on Facebook, but it's only after a few years I realized that, oh my god, you know, social media has now become like the in thing, and each one's popularity is like differing, and now it's like, oh my god, Instagram. So we all have to be, you know, keeping up with the trends and the technology. But yeah, so what I do is I do tell people that it's important that if you want to project yourself as a social on social media, it again depends. See, some people are of the reserved kind. Now if I'm working with somebody who's like a CEO or a CFO as an image consultant, those people want to only project a certain part of theirs, a certain aspect of their lives, not everything. Not all of them are very out there projecting themselves to the outside world, but the ones who are like the who want to become public figures, then I guide them accordingly, and then I put them across to the right people who are social media experts, who would help them in terms of digital marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so social media is again another important thing that we as image consultants need to keep projecting. Like, you know, we make videos, we have to keep making reels, we have to keep making things, telling people what we do. So you know, that's like a part and parcel of our work.
That's great.
Correct,
Um,
correct.
I3, there's something wrong with your camera, I believe.
So
You
am I
need,
not visible?
no, you're not. Yeah, now you're visible.
Okay, I'm visible now.
You're changing your camera, I believe. Change it to the
One second.
front camera.
Am I visible now?
Yeah, you are now.
Okay.
Let's move on to
Okay,
the next question.
ma'am. Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, as you said that a student can be of 17 or a student can be of 60 in this field. So, like, whether it's 17 or 60, what kind of a hurdles like he or she might face while going through this, whole course and then starting up with an image consultant? What are the difficulties and hurdles he or she might face?
So you know, like I said, when you're 16 and 17, you're still very young, and
Right.
it's always better to get yourself a good education. And the biggest hurdle would be that the fact that these courses are very expensive. You know, so unless you have your parents sponsoring your course, it's not going to be an easy task. You'll really have to take up a loan and all of that. You don't want those liabilities in the beginning stages. So that is why I say that, you know, once you get yourself a good education, you graduate at the age of 21, then you can make a fresh start. I would be very certain that, you know, you take up, you give yourself those 6 months, and then immediately you start. So many times when I would be training students of mine who had just passed out of college, I would be like, wow, this is really good, because you're like just starting afresh, and this is something, you have so many years ahead of you. So you can do so many new things. You can try and experiment, play around, because you know you're specializing in so many different aspects. So
Correct.
the only
Correct.
hurdle I would say any student would face would be in terms of putting in that kind of money, which I'm not sure they would really be very comfortable, or their parents would be comfortable putting in that money at such an early stage. So that would be the only
Okay.
hurdle. And I, because see, also the fact is that when you are studying and you take up a course like this, you need to devote time to this course, because there would be assignments, there would be projects, there would be things you
Correct.
need to study a lot, right? And if you have to simultaneously study your other degree or something like that, how are you going to multitask so much? And I'm not one for multitasking, because there are studies that are proven which actually say that you should not really multitask, because multitasking is just like making your brain get overworked. So ideally it's always better to concentrate and focus on one thing at like whatever is on hand.
Exactly.
Correct. But
That
this
is,
generation is totally crazy for multitasking. They're learning several things at one point of time.
Correct. If they're
that
Right,
able
ma'am.
to,
that's
good, but
that's a main issue with the current generation. They want to achieve everything. I mean, let me
Correct.
give you my personal example.
Exactly.
Day before yesterday, I was just checking the LinkedIn, and I've seen a 20 years old girl, and she has mentioned the life coach. अरे बाबा पहले
Today, anybody and everybody just calls themselves a life coach. I'm like,
yeah,
how are you? Where or where?
exactly. First of all, you gain some experience. Like, I mean, for an example, I mean, for image consultant also, you learn something. You move on
Yes,
to some other professions, you complete your
correct.
studies. Once
Yes,
you gain that experience, at least 10 years of a corporate life or 5 years of corporate life,
yes,
thereafter there would be a possibility you could
yes.
understand the nitty-gritty aspects of this profession. And then
I
you can
absolutely
suggest.
yes. So I must tell you what I did. So I, of course, had work experience before I got into image consulting. I had at least about like 3.5 odd years of work experience before I got into image consulting. So I knew what the workings of the system were. I didn't just directly take the plunge, right? And also the fact is
Okay.
when you are completely unaware, like see, you take up this program, one thing you have to remember, it's like the doctor's profession. When you become a doctor, it doesn't stop there, because there are no new medicines coming, new diseases coming. You have to attend conferences, you have to update your skill sets. The same thing works for
Correct.
image consulting, right? So I, of course, also got myself certified in NLP, that is neuro linguistic programming, so that I can understand my clients at a deeper level, right? So it's not something that ends at one point ki, okay, now chalo image consultant ho gaya hai, to abhi ho gaya, now I know everything.
Exactly,
I
exactly.
have to keep following the trends. I have to keep reading up stuff. I need to follow probably influencers, see what are the trends that they are following. So it's a constant process. It just doesn't end once you're certified.
Correct. Correct. Okay, ma'am. So, like, currently, what is the scope of this field in our country, particularly? Like,
Right.
if some. Hmm.
So in our country, I would say the scope is immense, because everyone at every stage needs guidance in how to dress up, in the etiquette aspect, mannerisms. So companies need it for their employees, and companies, of course, they set aside a certain amount of money for training requirements. So image consulting and soft skills training is one thing that people are definitely very much interested in. All of us at different stages. Even I need to, beyond a point, keep changing my personal style, the way I present myself, the way I dress up. Everyone needs to do it. So whether it's about learning new things about dressing, about makeup, or about communication skills, we all need to keep learning. So like I said,
Correct.
when it comes to individuals also, individuals will need from time to time somebody, like there would be somebody who wants to climb the professional ladder, so he'll approach me and say that, you know what, I want you to help me out with my executive presence, right? So I will work
Correct.
on
Correct.
those aspects, like his leadership skills, because in image consulting, soft skills are also a part of it, right? So I would
Exactly.
work in terms of how to deal with teams, how to lead teams, so emotional intelligence, leadership skills, also for that matter sometimes negotiation skills, public speaking. So these are
Correct.
very important aspects which are a part of the whole executive presence thing.
Mm.
So that's when I conceptualize modules for individual clients of mine. So people are now, as against before, understanding the importance of their image much more. So there is a lot of scope, I would say.
Corporate
Okay. Okay.
clients as well as the individual clients, I believe.
Absolutely.
Everybody is more concerned with their image, and
Yes.
when the resources are available, so they will definitely take the benefit
Yes.
out of it.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's great.
Oh, yes. So, ma'am, lastly, question from my side would be any tips and any like that you want to share for our audience and all the budding new image consultants? Anything that you want to share with us?
I would just say that if this is your goal, this is your dream, you need to be very, very certain about it and just go for it, no matter what people say. So, people earlier used to ask me, so is this a very superficial field, or is this like, are you going to change my the person that I am? These kind of crazy questions people would ask, and people would also think that, oh, is this like Is it financially viable? So one thing about
Correct.
image consulting is it's like, again, variable income, because you are your own boss. If you're running your own company, you need to generate the work. But there is a certain kind of an empowered feeling that you get when you are on your own and when you are generating your own work, because you're responsible for the work that you're getting, the clients that you're getting, and your career. So it's important
Correct.
that you need to follow your dreams, and if this is what you want to do, you should just go for it, and never have any doubt, because there would be people who will probably discourage you and say that, hey, there is so much competition, there are dime a dozen image consultants and all of that. But what are you, what is it that you have to offer to the world? It's important that you all, you need to have a purpose. Like, if you were to ask me what is my purpose, I would say that I would want to make sure that people are ultimately happy, and they end up with something that will stay with them forever. And that is because I have helped them discover it, right? And
Correct.
through my modules, through my sessions with them, I've made them understand what they are all about. Sometimes people tend to lose themselves and they forget about themselves in the whole scheme of things in life. So this is what I do. I just make them, help them reach their goal and make them feel good about themselves. So that is the biggest motivator for me. So I say that, when people say that teaching is a noble profession, I say image consulting is a noble profession.
Okay, one more follow-up
So
question.
true.
Question, Sonia. Suppose you mentioned that identify the purpose. मैं एक
Yeah.
12th class का student हूँ, या मैं एक 11th class का student हूँ, and you came to my institution, you are giving this a wonderful presentation about the image consultancy, and you said identify your purpose. Then I have a very small question in my mind, ma'am. How I'm going to identify this purpose? I mean,
Well, that's a very good question,
I
Gulshan.
don't mind,
You
because
know,
I have faced this question in my journey in the last 8 years. I mean,
yeah.
every time when I ask the student, follow your passion, तो अंदर से आवाज आता है उनका कि सर passion कैसे करें हम लोग? Everybody is
I will tell
focusing
you.
on, because everybody is
Yeah,
focusing on engineering right now. If we talk about it, I'm not focusing on major cities. The
yeah,
tier one and tier two cities, everybody is focusing on after 10th. You will take it medical. Once you take the medical, you take the
yeah.
NEET examination. Once you take it like PCM, then you go for the JEE examination.
Correct.
Majorly, almost 50-60% of the students, they take this one,
Yeah.
right?
See, you
Correct.
know what?
Correct.
With this pressure, how to identify this purpose or the dream?
I'll tell you one thing, Gulshan. If somebody would have told me what is your purpose in life when I was in the 12th, I would have said, "Excuse me, I just want to get past 12th, do well, and get into a good college, like my first year degree." I couldn't care less about, okay, what how do I see myself 3 years from now, right? You have these typical. You must know, Atrey, MBA questions. Where do you see yourself
Yes.
5 years?
3 years in
I'm
5 years.
like,
Oh God, I faced that n number of times.
and that
N
is
number. Like I
actually,
don't know what to answer.
yeah, it's actually quite an annoying question, because I'm like, Are now
Right.
we imagine, had anyone foreseen the pandemic? No. Right. So when you have focused, you've planned 5 years ahead or 3 years ahead, this pandemic has completely come and shaken you up. What do you want to think about 5 years from now? Right. So I always tell people, yeah, purpose, mission, wo sab baad mein. Important, if you have dreams, if you're sure of what you want to do, just chase your dreams. That is what I say. Focus on the present moment. And also, when it comes to your career choice, or when it comes to your degree ka choice, it should be yours. And I'm sure, and I don't think a lot of parents who are a part of this might not really like it, but I would say, because my parents were very lenient when it came to whatever I chose when I did my 11th and 12th, when I did my degree. So I had the freedom of choice for whatever I chose, and I think everyone should. Just because parents say no, you have to do medicine, I've seen so many
Hmm.
people who have taken up medicine because of parental pressure, and they
Because
regret
of
it, and they go
yeah.
on to do something else, some business. I mean, it's such a waste of that one particular degree, which could have gone to somebody else who was really wanting it and was in need of that, right? So
Hmm.
this is a particular topic which is very close to my heart, that you should only do what you feel like doing, and it will come to you. I believe that it will come to you. So 11th and 12th ka, I wanted to do arts. I told my parents I'm doing arts. When I wanted to do my BA, I said I'm going to do psychology, English literature, and journalism. My parents said go for it. and I did very well, thankfully, because I was very those nerdy kinds in college. So I studied very hard, I did very well. And then I said, okay, I want to do my post graduation in mass communication. My parents said, go for it. I did my post graduation, and then I said, okay, I want, because I've topped in journalism, okay, I need to be a reporter with the Hindu. And then I joined the paper. Of course, I got a lot of exposure, but I realized that was not my calling. I was like, I can't go to a slaughterhouse and cover a report something, because I don't want to do that. And
Mm.
writing, I like
Correct.
writing verses maybe, but not writing reports. So again, it's your passion, and only when you're in that phase will you know what you want to do and what you don't want to do. And even
Correct.
here, when it comes to image consulting and all of that, people think that they want, and the moment they get certified, oh my God, I'm going to start getting clients one after the other. No. Your return on investment will happen probably 2 years down the line or 1 year down the line, for which you have to be well prepared for. It's not going to come
Correct.
that easily, because once you establish yourself, once you start your company, you really have to do a lot of hard work. Like when I passed out of this institute, the institute offered me to train their budding image consultants. So I'm based out of Bangalore. I used to travel to Chennai every weekend. So Friday I used to train for 8 hours in Bangalore, then take a flight the next day. Sometimes I'll stay over in Chennai, sometimes I won't. So I'll take an early morning flight to Chennai, train the whole day, then take the last flight out from Chennai back to Bangalore, and then again train the next day. So 3 days in a row, I'm training for eight hours standing. So it's just about, if you like it, you'll do whatever it takes to get
Correct.
there.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that is what it's. So just focus, like students, 12th standard, you focus on your 12th. Focus on giving your exams. Focus on what your degree should you want to do. Don't go by what other people say. Science karo,
So
ye
Sonia, the
karo, wo karo.
kind of experience you have, well, I mean, along with your parents, definitely we will going to organize one parents orientation program, and you will go
Please.
to be the speaker.
Absolutely. I'm sure they'll probably want to argue with me, but I'm just going to stick to my stand, because this is something that I really, really very passionately feel, that
Exactly.
I don't, why waste so many of your years doing something that somebody else is asking you to? You should do something that you want to do.
Exactly. Exactly.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
And that's a great session.
So,
I'm glad.
yeah.
It was fun. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me over.
Uh,
Yes, sir, do you have any questions from your side?
I don't right now. I mean, being a 12th standard student, I don't have any experience.
I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, as much as yes, I pitch for the whole degree thing, but whether you are 12th, whether you are degree, whether you have done it or not done it, at the end of the day, it's all your experience that matters. How much have you grown through your
Correct.
experience? And that is what builds you as a person.
अच्छा एक question और है मेरा, like I mean I have seen a lot of people because I've come through like kind of a background where इस पर बहुत ज़्यादा focus नहीं था, ठीक है. So right now if you talk about the image consultancy, it's all about the English language focusing, or it comes with a Hindi thing as well. Like अगर किसी के पास में English का barrier है और
Hmm.
अगर उसको भी image consultancy में आना है या बनना है, so it's open to that audience as well.
See, what happens is with the जो curriculum रहता है ना, that is all in English.
अच्छा.
So that, because so the institute where I got certified, they were curriculum partners with an institute which was from the US. So
Okay.
वो सारा जो understanding था, that was all, the content was all US based. So it's all in English, but yeah, I mean, they had modified it to Indian standards, but it was not available in different languages.
Okay.
But yes, I would say that there were students of mine who would attend, who are not very fluent in English, but they were able to understand. So at least if you're able to understand what the trainer is speaking, then it's still fine. You can take it up, because there would be a lot of clients eventually that you will have who probably might not be very fluent in English. They might prefer to talk in Hindi or that regional language, whatever they
Exactly.
speak. So if you
Exactly.
know a lot
Right.
of languages, then of course it is an advantage.
So you do your course in English, then after you can, I mean,
Yeah.
pursue your profession in any language, whatever you like.
So typically you do the course in English, but when you are talking, see, sometimes, for example, I had a friend's, so my friend's dad has a factory, and this was in Bombay. And when I had gone to visit them, he was like, "Can you come and do a session for our staff?" And they either spoke Hindi or Marathi, right? So
Oh,
my Marathi is not that great, but I was able to speak in Hindi, right? So I conducted the session in Hindi.
okay.
So if you do have clients or employees from companies who only speak in Hindi, then you of course can speak in Hindi and everything. But yeah, I mean, if you're as a student, image consultant, it's always preferable to be able to understand English before you take up the course.
So language is not that a very big barrier in your career, I
Not
believe.
a complete barrier. I mean, you can somehow manage if you're able to understand English.
So again, that comes out to be dream and passion. So if you are
Absolutely.
passionate enough, then you can definitely learn with the
Yes,
process.
absolutely.
Right.
I'm done. I think.
Okay. So that was a great session. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being with us here today. I'm sure today's session has cleared ample of doubts and has inspired all the image consultants out there. It was a great pleasure to have you with us.
Thank
So
you
all the
so.
future Thank you, ma'am. So, all the future image consultants, buckle up and stay tuned with us. And if you have any questions regarding this amazing career path, then do write it down in the comment section. And Enlightenment is working towards the goal to inspire students to excel in their careers. With the changing dynamics, we bring the experts from some of the very, very interesting and offbeat career paths. So, download our application and follow us on social media to explore the world of careers. So, lastly, I hope everyone is doing well and is safe. On this note, I would like to conclude today's webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Atrey. Thank you, Gulshan, for having me over. It was so
Thank
lovely
you, ma'am.
interacting with you all.
It was not a webinar. It was a fun talk for me.
Yes, and it was like I got to know a lot of things, a lot of new things being a student, honestly. Now
Yes.
this is
Oh, yeah.
interesting me more. I want to look up into this image
After a
Please
consultancy.
do.
after a long time, I had a fun. Seriously, I mean, yesterday night I was on Clubhouse and there was a all jamming night session was going on. So I was thinking कि यार अभी हम लोग भी कुछ start कर सकते हैं because they were having a lot of fun. तो वो जो conversation का fun था ना, वो अभी पता लगा कि यार एक घंटे
Mhm.
में जो ये लॉकडाउन है अभी घर पर सब लोग बैठे हुए हैं. Still, if you talk some like थोड़ा सा अगर बात भी करते हैं ना किसी से अच्छे तरीके से without any burden in your mind because being an
Correct.
entrepreneur you also face a lot of burden. Like
Correct.
आप भी समझ सकते हो. I mean, as an entrepreneur, you need to take care of a lot of things, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
Correct.
fortunately, we are working in a profession where we have to deal with the students. So we
Yes.
इतना pressure नहीं है. But फिर भी ये pandemic, COVID, and everything is going on. Still, you are planning for the future, and the third wave is like it hurts.
Yeah.
Knocking at the
Right around the corner.
Exactly,
right,
exactly. So what you want to plan for the next day, even you're not sure. This is
Yes.
what I suggest to the students because right now, I mean, अभी आप ना सुशांत सिंह राजपूत का एक मैं इंटरव्यू सुन रहा था लास्ट ईयर का. तो उन्होंने एक टर्म कहा था like change is constant. Like if you talk about previously, change was you can say that the rate of change was constant, right?
Right.
But right now, change is constant, and that too in which capacity we are not sure.
Right.
इसका सेम एग्जांपल अभी टेक्नोलॉजी है या चीजें चेंज हो रही थी पहले टाइम लगता था 10 साल में कुछ चीजें चेंज हो रही हैं राइट. अभी
Correct.
हर एक 2 साल में इतना टेक्नोलॉजिकल चेंजेस आ जाते हैं हम लोग कोप अप भी नहीं कर पाते हैं.
True.
Hmm.
True.
The
True.
profession which you are in right now might be possibility will not be there in next 5 years. Then what you will going
You
to do?
Yes, yes, I totally agree. I mean, there's so much uncertainty if you see. You don't know what lies ahead for you tomorrow. So it's important that you make the most of the present moment, I would
Exactly.
say.
Correct, correct, correct.
Right.
So that's
So
lovely having you, Sonia. I mean,
thank you.
Yes.
personally, I have learned many things without paying anything.
No, so it was absolutely my pleasure, and you both had such positive vibes, and it was so lovely interacting with you, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself. So thank you so much, and I really wish the very best, and I hope you are able to reach out to as many students, and I'm sure you're going to enlighten their lives, and they are very lucky because you are around. So thank you so much.
This
Thank you so much, ma'am.
next 2 months, I'm going to work hard for this. Chalo, thank you guys. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Thank you so much. Bye
Take
bye.
care. All the
Yes.
best.
Take
Bye.
care.
Thank you.
All the best. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.